listening to Peak One Sports.
Happy Saturday and welcome to the Leadoff on the Peak One Sports Network. I'm Ashton with Tony and Landen, and we are here to get you ready for your sports weekend. What's going on, boys?
You know, we're just living the dream here.
Yeah. Usually, I always tell people, man, I need a new dream if that's what I'm doing. But this is the dream here. This is not. This is something I'm proud of to be our dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of hard work. We're not sitting here hungover on a Saturday morning. At least I'm not. I can't speak for you guys.
No.
Landon better not be. But we're here talking sports, having fun, and hopefully a few people get a kick out of it. A quick couple of show sponsors before we dig into it. Say goodbye to unruly behavior and hello to a well-mannered pup. The Dapper Dog Academy stands out as a top-notch canine training institute located in Cleburne and serving the DFW Metroplex with over 10 years of experience, helping your canine companions become the best version of themselves. Contact Korri and the Dapper Dog Academy on Facebook or call and schedule a consultation today. All the information is down in the description box. Also, don't bet with your gut. Use Betalytics. Get all the help you need making your picks. You can use promo code PEAK1 to get 25% off when you sign up today. Again, thank you for tuning in. However you're listening, whether it's YouTube, here pretty soon, Twitch and Facebook Live as well. We have a podcast platform if you're listening after the show. We appreciate it. Give us a like, follow, subscription, whatever fits the platform you're listening on correctly. So we're going to get started talking about the Masters and obviously big weekend in golf. Not really the first tournament of the year, but a lot of people start getting back into golf and watching golf this time of year. You see that beautiful painted green grass at the Masters. It makes you get excited for spring. Right now we have 3 players tied at the top of the leaderboard after day 2. Bryson DeChambeau, Scotty Scheffler, and Max Homa, all 6 under. Seems like kind of a low score. I know it's just day 2. I want to say, yeah, DeChambeau was 7 under yesterday, so really,
Yeah, because
one
he was
over
one
after
over.
day 2.
He was 1 over.
A lot of rains and storms before, this past week. So they told us a lot of wind, and they told us there was going to be a tough course to play this weekend.
Yeah, still putting out a nice low shot scores.
Yeah, for sure. And Tiger Woods, he makes the cut. The 24th straight year Tiger has made the cut at Augusta. He's at even, or he's played even, tied for 22nd. That's actually kind of a pleasant surprise. After watching his first day, I thought for sure he was just going to go down from there, downhill from there. That's kind of his MO lately. I don't remember the stat, but something like half of the last 20 tournaments, or maybe not even quite that many, that he started, he's had to end soon because of whatever back issues, whatever he's dealing with right now.
Yeah.
So a nice pleasant surprise that Tiger made the cut, and I don't know his chances of jumping back into it, because it seems lately, like I said, his game hasn't been improving throughout the tournaments. It's like each round it gets a little worse.
Yeah, he's not the same Tiger that we grew up watching, and even in recent years, the way he plays the game has taken a toll on his body. An aggressive swing, big drives. It's taken a toll on his back. He's not that same player.
For sure. Age plays a part into that as well. He's, had a car accidents, one really serious car accident. The fact that he's back playing professional golf, or has been the last couple of years, is a pretty big deal, because a lot of people said when he got in that last car wreck and I guess broke both of his legs, they said chances are he might never play professional golf again. And he's out there doing it with the best of them tied. 6 shots back in 2 rounds. we've seen crazier things happen. So, I mean, hopefully he has a good round today, and not necessarily cheering for Tiger Woods per se, but it does make golf better when he's being very competitive. So maybe it'll make for a exciting final round tomorrow if Tiger Woods is in the mix with with an outside chance of possibly winning it. Any other thoughts on the Masters, guys? Anything that stuck out to you?
No.
Does it bother you at all that, like, I don't know how much y'all watch. I watch the first round, and I'll probably watch part of the final round. If I think about it and it's on and I have free time, I'll watch in between probably today. But does it bother y'all that they paint the grass, that they put dye in the pond more reflective?
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
sit there, you look at it, it's kinda nice, pristine, and
But that it's
it's
all
kinda like,
modified and
yeah, you're pulling back the curtain, like when they show you how they make the food in commercials, in restaurant commercials where they use motor oil instead of syrup on pancakes, and they use glue instead of cheese on pizza to make it stretch or whatever.
yeah.
It's like, I mean, I would rather see that than, see patches on the grass, which they shouldn't have. The Masters is so strict about that. You can't even
Yeah.
play the course in between the Masters and fall. It's like nobody ever plays there for the most part, so, um,
Yeah,
that's
but
your
to
only
know that it's,
job.
like, essentially fake. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's disheartening to know, but, I grew up, in high school working on a golf course, so I know how tough it is to keep a course pristine and looking nice. Um,
Yeah.
so I understand that fact. Is like, hey, we'll do anything we have to. But, if that's all you do, and, you're right, that course doesn't get played that often. I worked at a public course that was played, hundreds of rounds a day being played.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't, you would think, I guess it gives people the wrong impression. And then when they go to, other courses, we have the course locally here in Fort Worth, the Colonial. You go out
Mhm.
there, it's nice, but, it's not Masters. But I think you kinda get that false sense of that
Yeah.
that's not nice because what you see on TV, Like you said, you pull back the curtains, it's like, "Yeah, this course doesn't really look like this other than this weekend."
Yeah. I mean, it's it's a big event, obviously. I assume the Masters is the highest rating golf. I don't know about Live. I don't even know if they get that big of ratings, but just in the PGA in general, it's the start of really the start of the golf season, um and I assume it has the best ratings. I assume that's what people really get excited for. I couldn't tell you when the US Open is, or PGA Championship or anything like that. But I know when the Masters is. It's every April, coming up. Whether it's the second or what, I don't know if they have it the same weekend every year, but it comes up in April. You start seeing those commercials like not long after the Super Bowl. Like I want to say in late February, March, you start seeing the Masters, and that's when like Masters commercials, and that's when spring's coming. But I mean, I get it. They have to do what they have to do, but I'd like to see it without paint. Like, is it just like little touch ups here and there? I know they do put dye in the ponds to make them reflect
Yeah.
more or something, but it's like this is your only job. I'm not saying if they didn't put paint, it would look like a junkyard or anything, but um,
It
it's
looks
hard to tell like
flawless.
what's real. Yeah, it looks flawless, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
and you think, "Man, why can't my yard look like that? Why can't other
just
courses
paint
look
it.
like that?"
Yeah, I'm just gonna start painting my yard.
Yeah.
You know the deals I've had with my yard, so just start painting it. Just dead grass, but it's green. All right, let's move into baseball. Um, Shohei Ohtani's former interpreter has been charged with stealing $16 million from the MLB star. Mitsuhara was charged with bank fraud on Thursday in federal court and accused of stealing $16 million from the Los Angeles Dodgers power hitting pitcher to cover gambling debts, according to a 36-page criminal complaint, an affidavit filed in U.S. District Court in Los Angeles, blah, blah, blah. Mizuhara embezzled the money from an account of Ohtani's that he had helped set up and sent the funds without Ohtani's knowledge to an illegal sports gambling operation. That sounds like too when somebody's trying to convince you of something and
Yeah.
or convince you to think one way than the other when you're not really on that side. You're just like, oh, this is kind of weird, and they just like, look, he did it. Like it's like just too much. It's just too clean. It's too obvious. You're like, not that I say this is planted, not that I say this isn't true. I think there's more to this story than we're being told. I'm not saying Ohtani was gambling himself. Maybe he was. But there was so much cover up and lying in the first place where he's like, "No, I paid to cover it." And then the Dodgers like, "No, he stole it from you," and now we're going to this extent. I think at first we were being told nothing's going to happen. Ohtani forgave him. He's a friend. And people like us on podcasts talking conspiracy theory, like we have to do something now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe you're like, well, if Mizuhara's taking the fall, he's not going to let that happen if he's going to go to prison or whatever. Like, I don't know that that's not the case, because how does Ohtani not know? I know we talk about it a lot. Like people with a lot of money get screwed out of millions of dollars because of a financial advisor or whatever steals their money. He's his interpreter. What does his interpreter have to do? Like, you don't have to speak English to set up a bank account.
You know, I asked that question too, and I guess like we see him as, yes, he's an interpreter, but I think maybe that's his guy. That's his
Yeah.
liaison. He kind of handles all of his affairs as just a day to day, like having a friend there. Personal assistant, I guess.
I guess he has to be there with him most of the time to,
And maybe
obviously interpret.
it sounds like Ohtani. I mean, I know that apparently there were the phone recordings of bank calls of him impersonating Shohei and, things
Mhm.
like that. But, maybe Shohei entrusted him too much,
Yeah.
and put too much faith that he was going to be honest. And, this guy, what it looks like to me, this guy's a leech. I don't feel like Shohei has any copiability in this. Like, I
Mhm.
think that this is fully his interpreter's doing, and maybe he was just given too much. He put too much faith in him
Mhm.
and allowed him, trusted him too much.
Yeah. Um, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, I'm not thinking that Ohtani was gambling at all. I think his friend got in a situation. Ohtani probably said something. Yeah, let's take care of that or whatever. I got your back. I don't know. I don't know that your friend is gambling millions and millions of dollars just because you have a best friend who's a millionaire, but because that's what it sounded like, and then it looked really bad that it came from Ohtani's account, and the Dodgers and MLB said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, no, he stole it from you." Okay, that's why I think we're just not being told everything.
Yeah.
But I'm not like a big conspiracy theorist that they should get rid of Ohtani. He needs to be banned or whatever. He was gambling this. I don't know. Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, but um, it feels like there's more to the story than this. But I don't know. The U.S. District Court does not mess around. It's not like MLB doing investigating or anything. So I don't think feds are going to go to the MLB, or MLB are going to go to the feds and say, "Hey, just make sure he looks." They're not going to care, So
Yeah.
maybe there's a lot more truth to this than I think there is, because the U.S. government's involved.
Yeah.
Landon, do you think this
Well,
has affected Ohtani's performance at all?
I don't honestly. I haven't been paying attention to the Dodgers at all, but I don't think so because I watched them
Yeah,
when they played the Cubs and they lost.
yeah,
I think that was game 2 of their series. Well, they lost to the Padres last night, but whenever they lose, it's like 8-7.
it's close games. Yeah,
So it's like they're putting up runs, but they can't.
They got to wait for Ohtani to come back and pitch. He's
I don't even
injured
know how
now.
to spell his name. I'll look for his stats and then I'll.
Yeah, it seems like, I mean, because you're right. I haven't really been keeping up with the Dodgers. Most Ohtani stuff I've been reading or watching is involved this, but I've seen his highlights. Like, he's making plays. I just don't know off the top of my head what his batting average is, home runs. I do know that because I heard another conspiracy theory about him that his first home run in Dodger Stadium apparently is a big deal. I don't know. You switch teams and it's your first home run there, so the ball's supposedly worth 100,000, and he wanted to get it back, and he traded a bat and a glove or something for the people who bought it or the people who caught the ball. And he was being criticized, saying you should have given him a sign, this, that, or whatever. And Ohtani said he met with them. They were great people. And then they said they didn't meet with him. And the connection they were trying to make was this podcaster, this whoever media member was saying, well, see, he lied about that. What's to say he's not lying about this? And I'm like, that's a stretch. I
Yeah.
mean, has anybody on here not lied within the last 2 weeks? Even if it's just something small, like you
Yeah.
tell a customer, this is, because you lie about one thing doesn't mean you lied about being a degenerate gambler. And,
Right.
because my other side is you got millions of dollars and you have all these fall guys that, like, would you not be paying someone, like, don't let it connect to me no matter what? If I was doing that, I wouldn't be using my interpreter to do. My interpreter could set it all up, but it's like, place these bets. I don't care. I got millions of dollars. It would never get that close. I don't think, unless he just got away with it for so long and then all of a sudden did something stupid and sent it from his own bank account. What do you got, Landon?
So through 61 at bats this year, he's hitting 353.
So he's living up to his contract. I mean,
Yeah, I
he's just
don't-
getting paid $2 million this year. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think. I mean, he has 9 RBIs, 24 hits.
It's not bad in what, like
He hasn't.
15 to 20
I
games.
think he had one game that he didn't have a hit.
So this does not seem to be bothering him on the field at all, which I'm not going to make that connection, but I know I could see some people making the connection. Like, if this is his best friend, he should be struggling on the field. This should affect him, right? If they weren't throwing him under the bus, but I'm just throwing that out there. I don't believe that at all.
He had a 5-game multi-hit streak too.
So he is the next Babe Ruth. That's what we're saying, or I guess not next. He's here now. I mean,
his mental capacity for this game is at a different level from anyone else.
yeah.
He's even by these personal things on the off the field, typically a player struggles and it affects them. Maybe it helps the communication part where, obviously, foreign countries are covering this as well, foreign reporters, but if he stays out of that and, it's easy for him to dodge questions and dodge interviews when he doesn't understand. And now his interpreter's not, I think that helps protect him. He can kind of stay away from it. But
Can you imagine being his new interpreter now?
yeah,
You go from his interpreter used to be his best friend to now, I'm sure it's somebody he knows. I don't know. And then just it's like getting cheated on or something in a relationship, a serious relationship. And now you have to go date somebody else, and that person just has to deal with the trust issues.
yeah,
There's got to be some, like, dude, you are my interpreter, and that's it. Get
yeah.
another interpreter for your, I mean, you think he could get a financial dude a financial advisor that,
But you know what? You see
speaks
that so many
Japanese.
times too with athletes. They even get professional financial advisors and they kind of screw them over too. And
And that makes sense to an extent. Like, if I was unfortunate enough to win the lottery, like, I don't even know, because so many go bankrupt. The first thing I'm doing is getting an advisor. Maybe that's somebody within the family because we have financial people in our family or whatever. But that's the first thing I'm doing. And honestly, outside of, like, we obviously have business ventures and entrepreneurial things going on, I would throw money at. I might just say like, "Hey, you deal with it. Just let me know." I'll come to you safe. I mean, I'm not gonna go crazy and buy houses and cars, but I know a lot of people. I want to say Eminem was one of them. They were talking about like if he wants to buy something, he talks to his advisor. Is this a good idea? I got money, right? And they
Yeah.
could tell you. He could tell you, I got Eminem may not be it, but I know they're like, I can't even tell you how much money I have, which I feel like is a great problem to have if
Yeah.
you have no clue because you have so much of it. Um, but you just trust the wrong person. It's almost like, how could you let that happen when most of us are in positions in our lives where something like that could happen because we
Yeah.
trust somebody we should be able to trust. And hindsight's 2020. Um, it's easy to go back and like, how did I miss that, or whatever. But and then especially when you're a celebrity, you look like an idiot when something like this happens, and then people always want to put their 2 cents in. I'm like, dude, if your husband or wife or parent or whatever, you trust them completely. If they were to screw you over, and you're like, oh, they'd never do that. That's what he thought. It was his
Yeah.
best friend. Assuming all this is true. I know people in the comments are gonna say he's the fall guy or whatever, but that's not what the evidence points to. And we're being told constantly that's not what the evidence points to. So
Yeah.
we'll definitely keep all up with that. Maybe can you imagine if he gets like house arrest or something, like he doesn't do any time? People are gonna go crazy again.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. According to several sources, the Arizona Coyotes, it's Coyotes, right? Do they call themselves the Coyotes?
I don't know. I mean, I know they're the Coyotes.
Yeah, I think Coyotes is a nickname, but it's spelt the same, so it's hard to. I'm going to call them the Arizona Coyotes. The Arizona Coyotes players and staff were informed before Friday's game against Edmonton that the team is heading to Utah, and there will be attempts to help those affected visit Salt Lake City. The timeline is they are planning is to have that visit take place next Wednesday, with the idea that the Coyotes will play in Utah next season. Now that's a lot to come out of one report.
Yeah.
Um, we saw
That's
this come. I
fast.
mean,
I
yeah,
mean, you knew the move. I mean, there's been rumors about them leaving anyways, but
we heard Houston, Kansas City, maybe. You knew it was happening because they weren't staying in their arena. They can't sell out the 5,000 seat college arena they play in. Um, NHL said something has to be done. And you're right. When you have relocation talk like this, like I know it's been talking, it's been in talks for a while. When you have this talk, uh, similar to the Oakland A's, it takes a while, but they're moving to, I guess hockey's different because many cities with basketball, NBA teams and NHL teams share arenas because
that was
a
that's
normal arena.
that's what I was
eh,
gonna say. It seems like as fast as this is moving, that's where they'll play in the Jazz Arena
The Delta Center,
because those are
because
very easy to convert the courts to rinks.
yeah, I want to say they usually do convert. I know they have success. I want to Salt Lake City Grizzlies or Utah Grizzlies. It's like a minor league hockey team, maybe one of the affiliates. And not that they play in the Delta Center often, but I want to say they retrofit it to sometimes host those games. And it seems like Utah is a place that would be able to host a hockey team. I mean, Houston's like, yeah, it's big, but there's no hockey here
Yeah.
or there. In Utah, it's like it's snows a lot. It's cold most parts of the year. It's very close to Denver, where hockey's really big, and it's I don't know the fact that it's close to Arizona. How I mean, you don't have to worry about divisions and moving things around. They're staying in the West. And why wouldn't you move them there the next year? I mean, if you think we move them to Utah, everything's already in place. Uh, you think Utah's going to sell more than 5,000 tickets a game?
Yeah.
Like we talked about last year with Oakland or the A's moving to Sacramento. That just the fact that it's gonna be a new team, there's gonna be that excitement. Again, I don't know how big the excitement is in hockey, but if you moved a hockey team anywhere, professional hockey team, I think at least for the first year, they're gonna go out and support the team just because it's an exciting thing.
Yeah.
I know Salt Lake City has kind of been on that short list to get a hockey team. The city is active in getting, and pursuing one. So I think they'll do good.
Does
Is there
this
a need? Go ahead.
does this open up the opportunity for other sports franchises to go to Utah?
Um, Sort of like the cascading effect Vegas had.
Mm-hmm.
Vegas was obviously a different situation. Had nothing to do with the metropolitan area population, anything like that. That all was there. It was just obviously the sports gambling aspect. But that is an interesting question because uh, Utah is not a big market. I want to say it's a medium sized market. Off the top of my head, I don't know the population and all that. I know there's a lot of mountains, so you're kind of intact into that
Yeah.
metropolitan area, but you do have multiple college athletic programs in the area. So, the fact that if this goes and works, does that I guess you're asking, does that move them up on a shorter list
Yeah, I
for a
mean, maybe
baseball team?
with
Because they
rumors
were on that
of
list.
MLB expansions and I don't know if there's any talks of NFL expansions, but you
Yeah.
know, is that a factor going forward? Because you have on the East Coast, West Coast, even on the southern borders, you have kind of this influx in the Northeast of teams, but that region of the country just doesn't have a huge, because of the population and the size of that area, that they don't
Yeah,
have a lot of teams there.
yeah, obviously football is a big deal there. I mean, you have BYU and Utah who are, I mean, they're Power 5 I mean, they're both in the Big 12 now that Utah's in the
Yeah.
Pac-12, but they're Power 5 conferences with a lot of support and a lot of success, especially Utah recently. Where there's obviously football fans there. I would assume they would be, that area is big with the Broncos, maybe the Raiders now because Vegas is relatively close.
Hmm.
That if you plop a football team there, would it not succeed? Would you not gain a lot of new fans to follow
Yeah.
that team? Uh, I think if the Coyotes go to Utah and they succeed, and um, the fact that it's fast, I don't know that affects the buildup because when when Vegas is getting a team, even Sacramento, I guess that's pretty close, but we're still early in this season. It's like the NHL season's almost over. You're going to run into the offseason rushing to relocate this team, but Vegas has a lot of years to promote, to build a stadium, to get everyone excited. And it's like you wake up this morning, or I guess it was kind of late afternoon when you heard it yesterday. If you live in Utah, you're like, holy crap, we're gonna have a team in a few months. Um, I don't know if that kind of hurts anticipation or the buildup, but I think if you
Is
can make
I assume
this,
their branding, they're gonna stay the Coyotes.
I guess I mean, the Utah Jazz are still the Jazz. They probably should have changed that back then, but now it's fine. Um, I things that make more sense, you could say the Grizzlies, but like I said, they already have a hockey team named the Grizzlies, the minor league hockey team or whatever. Um, I wouldn't think you would make anything with the Rocky Mountains because you have the Colorado Rockies. It's like Coyotes exist. I mean, Coyotes exist in Utah, so why
Yeah.
couldn't you make that work? I know the branding is kind of coyote in the desert, but maybe change the colors. I don't know. I'm a big fan of when you switch, like change the colors up. Um, get it to brand to you to your start
Which,
fresh.
really the colors and the name, I mean, it really does fit. You just change it. It's the Phoenix. It's not Arizona, right? It's Phoenix Coyotes,
They used, I
or
think
is it the
no, they're
Arizona
Arizona.
Coyotes?
They used to be Phoenix Coyotes. I think they did
So,
that to kinda grab other parts of Arizona.
if you did the Salt Lake City Coyotes or the Utah, I think it sounds better as the Salt Lake City
Yeah.
Coyotes. I think that's
Yeah,
good,
I
and
think
I
that would
think
be
the colors work
rather
too.
than rather than everyone being the Utah something. Um, I know you feel that need to grab the whole state, but I think Salt Lake City Coyotes or Coyotes or whatever would be cool. Yeah, I mean the colors obviously work. It's not like colors where you look at that and think, oh, that's like desert colors or whatever. Maybe you could pull that, but make that leap. But it works. I think it'd be cool if they changed the name too. But Coyotes work. So I don't know what motivation you have for doing that. Maybe thinking, well, I assume there's Arizona Coyotes fans in Utah. Again, it's not a big distance, and if you don't have if you don't have a team and you're a hockey fan, you're probably thinking probably Vegas because that's close and that's a very successful team. You have Colorado close, but you say, hey, it'll entice them to go get new gear if it's different colors, maybe a different logo. Uh, I think there'll be some sort of rebranding. Maybe it's happening so quick. I don't understand all that goes into a relocation. Maybe they say we're just going to stick with it for now, and maybe next year or the year after change it.
So this is not just a relocation. This is a sell of the team. The team was
Oh,
sold.
is it? Okay. That's probably better because I know there were issues with the
So they
current
sold them to the
owner.
Utah Jazz owner.
Interesting. Okay. So I think from a Utah standpoint, from a fan of, somebody who's a fan of the Jazz and is going to be a fan of this team, that's a good thing because the Jazz are obviously a successful team, a successfully run team. And you're going to have it's not just like some outsider, like this person understands sports. They understand what goes into it.
Yeah.
Whether they have the money or are willing to go, financially deep into this, but they're not doing it for like an investment opportunity. It seems like, hey, let's bring a hockey team to this area, and they understand the passion of sports if they're already owning another team.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I did not know that. I did not read that deep into it. I just saw the first reports. I typed up some notes and thought it'd be fun to talk about. Yeah, because I know the other owner really wanted to stay in Arizona. They were talking about different towns around Phoenix to host a stadium, and I want to say they had like rough drawings, kind of, not official renderings, but some ideas going around. And I saw some photos of them or some renderings and images of them, and it seemed like a pretty cool stadium. But people kept saying you can't consistently sell out a 5,000 seat arena. How are you going to get this, whatever it was, 15,000 seat arena or whatever? I'm like, yeah, that's true. It's not necessarily an Oakland A's situation where we know there's support there, but they don't want, they're kind of protesting the A's, the fans are, and then the city's not doing anything. I know the
Yeah.
city's part of this, but that's probably a big deal. That's like they need to move and they haven't the last few years because of the ownership. I wasn't familiar with the owner, the former owner of the Coyotes, if they were an Arizona person, a Phoenix person, and they just didn't want to move. Part of the success in Arizona or Phoenix at the time was that Wayne Gretzky was coaching, and I want to say he was part of the ownership group. Am I wrong on that? I know he was high up in that.
I don't know if
In
it
that
was that, or was he
franchise.
a GM or something high level?
Yeah. I know they had success on the ice. I know they had success selling tickets because Wayne Gretzky was part of that organization. I don't know if he's there from day one. Were they a relocation? Landon, look that up. Were they a relocated team or were they an expansion? Just
The more
Wikipedia that
I
Phoenix
look at
Coyotes.
this Arizona, just it wasn't, the details weren't familiar to me. But in this Coyote logo, I think you do have to change it because it has so many details of Arizona that just don't make sense in
Yeah.
Utah. So I would say, it it sounds like possibly they would keep the name. I think to go to a rename is a lot of work. Possibly they could do that, but you're probably going to see a rebrand in the logos, and
Yeah.
the colors are still cool. I think they work,
I,
but
I I think I think you should have a fresh perspective. Maybe not necessarily change the color scheme, keep the colors, but maybe flip some stuff around. Yeah, I want to say the Coyotes relocated from another city back in the 90s.
In 1971, they were part of the WHA as the Winnipeg Jets.
Okay. See,
And
I
then
was
they were
thinking
one of
Winnipeg.
4 teams absorbed into the NHL from the World Hockey Association.
So they were the Winnipeg Jets. I thought
Yeah.
Winnipeg was the was the Atlanta Thrashers. I thought that's what. No, the Thrashers relocated back to Winnipeg and became the Winnipeg Jets. So I was thinking like Canadian team. It was like a team that like kind of like Dallas came from Minnesota. It's like that's weird that they couldn't make that work in a hockey environment. They moved to Dallas. So that's when they went from Canada to Arizona.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were the Winnipeg Jets, then they were the Phoenix Coyotes, and then they just changed their name to the Arizona Coyotes in 2014.
Yeah, to get that, I guess Arizona, the whole state support. Interesting. Yeah. So I mean, similar to what we talked about last year with the Oakland A's, there's just so much dysfunction here and odd situations that it's not going to be hard for this team to do better. Like I don't know if they're going to succeed, and I expect them. Like I don't know the capacity of the Delta Center compared to other arenas, but I expect them to probably be in the top 10 in attendance next year, being a new team,
Yeah.
being in a new city. So I think this is going to go great. I can't imagine it not going well enough where the NHL is not saying we need to change something. Obviously,
Yeah. I
when
mean,
you're
it
selling
seems
less
like
than 5,000 seats, it's bad.
the NHL, I mean, I know you absorb some teams from the, other leagues and stuff, but it seems like when there's like moves with NHL teams do well, and they seem to do it often. You see a lot
Yeah,
of relocation and, as hockey
expansion.
grows, and especially in the US.
Yeah, I mean, hockey's definitely growing and growing in popularity. You see it with soccer too. Like soccer, the MLS is expanding like in a ridiculous manner, and you're starting to see teams. Normally, it was like the more popular teams had their own stadiums.
Mhm.
That other ones like they can function as a franchise, but they need to piggyback off the local NFL team or something. But now you're having soccer specific stadiums, and like the MLS is growing like crazy. And I think hockey is kind of like is there where baseball and basketball and football are talking about expansion, but NHL has expanded a lot. They just moved to Vegas. They just moved to Seattle. They're relocating teams around because Arizona not selling out and not having the fan support. I don't really know the situation there. It sounds like the owner is disliked, sort of like Oakland, the Oakland A's situation,
Yeah.
where how are they not? So even when the Dallas Stars, and this is not a hockey town,
Yeah.
but you get the support when they're doing great, and it's not difficult to sell out Star games.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's hard to get tickets to play playoff games when the Stars are number 1 in the Western Conference. But when they're doing bad, it's not like they're selling 4,000 tickets. You know, you might get bad turnouts if they're under 500 and it's a weird Tuesday night game or something.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine like there's got to be a lot of futility between the fans and the team or the owner or whatever. And I know there's issues with the city not building an arena and whatever, but it's like you're a professional sports team. You're in one of the 4 major professional leagues in the United States of America, and you're having, there are high school football games that get better
Then they do.
attendance.
Yeah.
Not even in Texas. Like, yeah, Texas. There are other states that have high school football teams that get better attendance. Arizona may get better attendance in high school football than they
Yeah.
do in hockey, in professional hockey. But something obviously need to be done. I think this is great for the league. I think it's kind of cool. I'm probably going to try to catch the first few Salt Lake City Coyotes or Utah Coyotes, whatever they come up with, just because I like, checking out their uniforms. Maybe that's a future thread segment here if they do change things up. I think that'd be kind of cool. But we will see how that turns out. And we were talking about I talked about it worked well, moving to Utah. They probably don't have to change divisions. I know divisions in hockey are meaningful, but not so much in the NBA where I was just scouring Twitter or Facebook, some social media, and saw that the Mavs did win the other night when they beat the Heat. They had won a division title, the Southwest Division, I think. It used to be the Southwest. They may still be the Southwest Division, but I
Yeah.
don't know because it's meaningless. There's no
Basketball's
point.
been one of those. It's just East versus West to me. Breaking up these
It
divisions
is.
is
I
it. What does it do for you?
Right now, the only purpose it has, I think, is for scheduling, where the Spurs, the Rockets are in the same division. I want to say it's Memphis and New Orleans. I don't know if they've moved Oklahoma City down because Oklahoma City was in the Pacific Northwest because they came from Seattle for a
Yeah.
long time. Scheduling, so they're not traveling so far. They're playing, trying to even up the schedule. I don't know how long it has been meaningless, but I remember maybe not quite 20 years ago where you win your division, it doesn't record doesn't matter. You're in the top 4. You're a top 4 seed. Similar, I guess, to football where you're hosting if you win your division.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's right or that's better. I prefer it to just be East West. But why don't you just do away with the divisions? Why, cool, Mavs won a Southwest Division title. Great.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that they even hang. I don't think they hang banners for those division titles, do they?
I think they used to.
Do
I want to
they?
say they used to. I'm sure they took them down or they don't anymore. That'd be like the Colts saying they got runner up in the AFC Championship game or something back in the, or
Yeah.
was it the Colts? It was somebody. It was somebody doing that. And I mean, cool. Like if you tell me would you rather be the 4th seed and not win your division or win your division and be the 5th seed, I'd pick not win and be the 4th.
Yeah.
It's not a big accomplishment. I know Houston had an okay year. San Antonio was terrible. New Orleans wasn't all that good. So it makes sense. It kind of surprised me. I was like, oh, they won their division. I'm like, oh yeah, but who else is in their division?
You really don't think about it like you said when you do in football, where the Cowboys division, and it is a big deal to win your division, even if you aren't super successful in the postseason. It is an accomplishment to win your division in the NFL. It's a hard feat to do.
Yeah, and I mean, they build stats around it. Like there's not been a repeat division winner in the NFC East for whatever. Like, and maybe that's because we look more upon, it's more value to win a division
Yeah.
in the NFL. But just from that stance, saying, "Hey, no repeat winner has won," like, wouldn't it be the same kind of like, "Oh, it's interesting." Like, I have no idea who's won this division the last few years, but if you told me, "Hey, nobody's won the division, the Southwest Division 2 years in a row in like 20 years." I'm like, that's kind of surprising. One, because the Spurs have been good so many years, but that seems like just an equal feat. But nobody cares because it's meaningless division. It doesn't
In the
mean anything.
postseason, it doesn't change anything for you.
Yeah, you could go like I want to say you play your team. I think the Mavericks like play the Spurs 4 times a year, so I think that's the setup. You play your division teams 4 times. Um, so if you get swept by one of your division opponents and you still win your division, is that really bragging rights?
Yeah.
I think that's very possible because some teams just match up better because the Spurs were just even in the years when the Mavericks were good, the Mavericks were good. The Spurs were just they were kind of like their little stepbrother.
Hmm.
And they lost a lot, to San Antonio. And I can see like the Mavs had some good years. Maybe the Mavs had a better record, but they still lost most of their games to San Antonio. So
Yeah.
just meaningless. Like, hey, get down in the comments if there's any other purpose besides scheduling, which I guess I kind of get because, but you could still say, hey, you're gonna play the Spurs, Rockets, Thunder, and Grizzlies or Hornets, or no, not Pelicans. Gosh, showing my age. The New Orleans Pelicans. Just because they're close, you don't have to make them an official division. But I don't know. Tell me down below. Don't forget to subscribe to YouTube channel. If you think I make a good point, hit the like button. Think I'm an idiot, hit the like button twice. Share us with your friends. Share us with your enemies. That's Tony. That's Landen. I'm Ashton. Until next time, I'll see you guys later.